Hello world, I am Aurora and this is my Who Can Do My bucket list. So the first book on my bucket list is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It's actually one of my favorite books I've ever read. He's one of my favorite writers in the whole world. It's like poetry, or actually the first 100 pages are extremely boring. In fact, so boring that you might want to rather die than to finish the book. But keep going, push yourself through the first 100 pages and then it becomes the best book in the whole world. It's true. I got through the first 100 pages of this book because a friend told me that get through them because it becomes the most amazing thing. I just knew it in my heart. It's completely wonderful. And I do find time on tour in between all the traveling and working because what I love about books is that you can jump in and out of them, out of these worlds. It's like time traveling. It is the magical thing about books that you can go in and out of them whenever you like. So I find it very easy to find time. And it's so cool too. And the second book on my bucket list is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. He has such personality and whimsicalness in his writing, which I really like, and also a lot of humor, which makes even the heaviest books of his seem light-hearted as well, which I really like, so it's quite easy to read them, I find. The Ocean at the End of the Lane is a beautiful, strange tale. I feel like this book did remind me of some of the playfulness and whimsicalness and fantasy you do have as a child, and which the world kind of tries to make you forget because it forms us into adults so we can function in this world. But I feel like this book is a very good reminder to enjoy and take care of that whimsical and fantasy and childish part of yourself. It makes you want to be really kind to your inner child, and it's really exciting too. It's quite scary at times. Just hear it. A dead man on the backseat of the car, on warm milk at the farmhouse, an ancient little girl, and an old woman who saw the moon being made. You can already tell that it's just the most magical thing. An ancient little girl is so cool. So this is the first book of the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. It's a really cool universe. It's kind of in the same headspace as Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or Star Wars, because it has quite a clear world and a very its own universe, which is really exciting to jump into. It even has its own physics and its own magic that just exists in this world that is kind of normal and is really cool. It's kind of that if people eat or drink metal, they can get these abilities, and then maybe they have the ability to do all of the powers and not only one. So it's really exciting. It's a book I started reading 3 years ago on tour, and I had a period in my life where I didn't read a book for like 4 years. And these books kind of brought me back. So if you feel the same, if you've been a bit distant from it, because the world do take us away a lot from the things we used to do because of the internet and our phones and stuff. So this is a really good book that keeps you really excited because it's brilliant and it's easy to read, and it will make you feel better in life, I think, than to spend time on your phones. I would really recommend reading these books because they're also really good. And it's written in third person, which I really like, because then you can jump between the characters and follow all the stories that happens simultaneously. What a word. Veronica Wants to Die by Paulo Coelho. I've read it 5 times, so I know it very well. It's different to me every time I read it as I grow older and learn more about the complexity of existing in this world as a human. It's a very sad and slow and beautiful book about a woman who wants to die, understanding this very complicated and very human but not so often talked about emotion, being tired of life, kind of wanting to die but not really wanting to die, just not wanting to live, and you can't really find anything in between. And it's a very complicated, strange, apathic feeling I think many people struggle with, that can be very heavy on your shoulders. And you learn that you're not alone, because obviously a writer somewhere recognizes this emotion as well, and all the people who for a good reason likes this book. I like this book for that reason, I think. And you learn a lot about how often emotions are complex. And it's hard to know what you want and what you desire and what's wrong with your mind and yourself and the world. That's okay to not necessarily know, but to just try to make it from day to day. And then, you know, it's the best we can do. The Power by Naomi Alderman. It's just, it's a very fascinating book, and I've been trying the last years to read more books written by female writers. Obviously, all of the others are male, except for this book. And I've read a lot of books the last years that have been written by female authors, and they're just amazing. But these have been with me for such a long time and done so many important things for me and my soul, so I just couldn't resist putting them on my bucket list. It's a very interesting sci-fi dystopian book about an alternative universe where the roles of the sexes have been switched. So it's the females who gain a power that makes them physically more in control and more powerful than the male sex. And what happens to the world if women could use force and power and fear the same way as men can, if they choose to, and if they will do it or not. I will not tell you, you will read a book. I love books like that, because then you get to kind of experience the what if scenarios in life, and it's very fun. And it's very easy to read as well. I would recommend. I have a very long list of books that I need to read already. I'm extremely into books. I read all the time. So I'm always on the hunt. And I often just walk past the book aisle, feeling the books with my hand, and I stop. And then I take the book that I stop on and try to discover something magical by accident, because you never know. The last book on my bucket list is Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. And he's a wonderful writer. I really enjoy his work. I have the same version at home. I bought it because of all of these are actually the same versions that I have at home as well, in my bookshelf. I like the cover of the cat in front of the sun, and I love red and black and white. It looks beautiful. So it was just a coincidence that I picked the book out in the library. It was one of those feeling my way with my hand and shopping books with my eyes, and I really liked it. It's very whimsical. It deals with like realism, but also imagination, sexuality, absurdity. It has an old man who can communicate with cats in it. How can that be wrong? It's a very strange and nice story, and I would really recommend it. And I would actually recommend all of his books. His universe is a very whimsical and artistic and beautiful universe to dive into sometimes. I love reading physical books that I can hold in my hand. I don't know why, but I feel very cute while reading them, sitting somewhere. And I love feeling cute, it makes me feel wonderful. And the smell and the pages. Yeah, I really love reading physical books. But sometimes when I can't sleep, I love to listen to audiobooks or System of a Down. I don't know why, but they really help me sleep. Falling asleep to violent pornography every night. The song, not actual violent pornography. Just to clarify. Well, thank you for watching and listening to my bucket list. If you have forgotten how fun it is to read and how much joy it brings to life independently in yourself, you're never alone when you have a book. You always have friends. You can go to cafes alone, travel alone, spend time alone, and never feel lonely when you have a book. So it's the greatest gift and greatest friend. And I would really recommend just starting reading again if you've had a time now without. Because it brings so much magic to life when you're into it. It's just amazing. I'm gonna sign a few of these and you can get them. I'm gonna take this one home because I don't have this version. You can have the other ones. Peace out.